Hello, and welcome. Welcome to another edition of the Sharma Show. Thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you. All right, so I've received a few comments on Twitter. I've received a few comments on Facebook. People want me to talk about this whole Tommy Robinson situation. So what has happened is Tommy Robinson has been sentenced to 13 months in prison. So let's talk about it a little bit. So essentially, for people that don't know, let me tell you a little bit about who Tommy Robinson is. So Tommy Robinson is an Englishman. He is the founder and ex-leader of the English Defence League, which is a street protest group. Now, the English Defence League did some stuff that I personally did not agree with, and apparently Tommy Robinson was also one of the people that did not agree with some of the stuff that the EDL did, and some of the people that the EDL attracted, and some of the people that the EDL got mixed up with, which is one of the reasons why he left the English Defence League and sort of tried to do things on his own. Now, the reason behind Tommy Robinson creating the EDL in the first place, and for him to be talking about the things that he talks about, are a few main concerns. Now, the concerns that he has for the UK and Europe in general are the concerns that I also share with him when it comes to India. One of his concerns is the growing influence and the growing influx of radical Islam into British society. Another one of his concerns is obviously demographic changes, which according to him are leading to certain no-go zones within Britain. Now, I haven't been to Britain, so I don't exactly know if there are no-go zones in Britain. And I kind of understand that because there are definitely certain areas like that in India where if you are a non-Muslim, you have to definitely think 10 times before you go there. The other concern that he has been talking about for a very long time without anybody giving him the time of day is the grooming gang situation. He's been talking about these grooming gangs that have been raping and molesting thousands of girls across Britain for many, many years. He has been talking himself hoarse about these situations for a very long time, but nobody really has been paying attention to him on those fronts. Obviously, until the whole Rotherham scandal broke, and for people that don't know, the Rotherham scandal was a scandal in Northern England where apparently nearly 1,500 girls had been molested or raped by gangs of mainly Muslim Pakistani men. And the police for a very long time had just done nothing because they were afraid of being called racist or bigoted. And again, that is a concern I share because a lot of the people in India often say that, oh, there's no such thing as grooming, there's no such thing as love jihad. That's what people in India call, the whole grooming situation. They call it love jihad. And the media and the left circles and the kind of the liberal media, they always say that there's no such thing as grooming. There's no such thing as love jihad. Even in India, they say the same thing. And, unfortunately, there's more and more proof coming of the existence of these things. And I believe that he got into trouble with the law before once where he was live streaming a court case and he was held in contempt of court, and apparently this time around as well, recently he was live streaming another court case of I think 4 people who had molested a young woman, and apparently people caught wind of him live streaming the proceedings of the court outside and they took his phone and they arrested him, and apparently he has been sentenced for 13 months in prison. His initial suspended sentence was revoked and some additional time has been tacked on. So by the looks of it, he has fallen afoul of British law. Now we can go into a whole conversation about how the law is bad and how the law needs to be fixed, but at the end of the day, I guess that is what the law is. And again, the question arises, why is there so much support for this guy online and among the public when he has been put in jail for breaking British law? The things that he talks about are things that the liberal establishment, the left-leaning media, and a lot of the politicians are deliberately or for some value-based reason are completely turning a blind eye to the problems of radical Islam in Britain and in Europe and this grooming problem as well. And he's one of the few people that is openly talking about this, and thus they feel a lot of sympathy for him, and then they obviously come out and support him. And again, I agree with him on these issues as well, because I've seen the problems of particularly radical Islam when it takes a hold in certain areas in India. A lot of Indians have been seeing those issues as well, particularly when you look at areas like Kashmir, you look at areas like Kerala, you look at areas like West Bengal, you look at areas like Assam. It's a combination of radical Islam taking hold in the various madrasas and in the various mosques. Obviously, again, this is not everybody. I have to make that distinction because people assume that it's everybody. There are obviously plenty of Muslims in India that just want to live their lives, just want to put food on their tables, just want to take care of their kids and their families. and so on and so forth, just like everybody else. But again, there's also a sizable section of people where it is a mixture of radical Islam along with the media establishments and the political establishments completely turning a blind eye, and it's leading to some serious problems in these states and these areas. So again, that's why I agree with them. And then a lot of people will also say, well, Sham, isn't Tommy Robinson far right? Why are you supporting far right? Because a lot of people in the far right have nothing but, disdain for Hindus. And I would disagree with those people because I don't personally think that Tommy Robinson is a far-right individual. Now, he has in the past associated with people and organizations that you would consider far right. The reason I believe that he has associated with those people is that, again, like I mentioned before, no liberal people, no liberal organizations, no liberal media would ever, sort of give him the time of day. So if you are Tommy Robinson, if you want to get your message out there, and if you want to really get a lot of people eyeballs on what you're talking about and get a lot of people listening to what you're talking about, you literally have no other option but to go to these people who could be considered, right or far right, because those are the only people that are willing to, listen to you, that are willing to give you the time of the day. Not everybody that he associates with is far right as well. Like Dave Rubin, like he also had for a while, now they've obviously had a falling out, but he also for a while worked with Majid Nawaz. Now, I don't think Majid Nawaz is far right. I think he's pretty left of center. But again, a lot of people have been painting Majid Nawaz as a anti-Islam, Islamophobe, radical. So, well, what are you going to do? The reason I think he's not somebody on the far right is because a lot of the people on the far right often lump, Hindus and Muslims and all the brown heathens sort of together because they're not Christian and because they're not white. They don't have time for them, and they often look at all of these people as, oh, they're all the same people. We don't want them here. What Tommy Robinson does is he has always, at least from what I have seen of him, he has always made a distinction between Hindus and Sikhs who by and large always assimilate within Western societies whenever they move to a Western country. They've always done a very good job of assimilating into those societies because, again, those two people, they follow the dharmic principles of accepting people. And that is why whenever they move to a foreign country, they usually take great pains and great steps to assimilate with the local culture there. And Tommy Robinson makes that distinction between Hindus and Sikhs and between radical Islam, which is having a problem integrating into the West. So he's always made that distinction, and for that he has my respect, because I know a lot of people, like Ben Shapiro, like Stephen Crowder, Lawrence Southern, again, who are, I'm not saying they're far right, they've often shown a lot of disdain for Hindus, and they often club all these, brown heathens together. So what I'm saying is that we need to make sure that we keep talking about these issues. We need to make sure that just because Tommy Robinson has been sent to prison, we need to make sure that these issues also don't go away with him. We need to make sure that we keep talking about these issues, and we have to make sure that we keep raising the ideas that I think Tommy raised as well. I obviously keep talking about it through my show. It's mostly stuff that relates to India, but I think there are a lot of issues that the West and India are facing that are very similar to each other. So I'm going to keep doing it as well on my end, and those are my 2 cents. Again, guys, let me know what you think about this whole situation with Tommy Robinson, what you think about the person, what you think about the issues that he's been raising. He's one of the few people who stood up for the Balochistan movement as well, which I think is a very important thing to bring light to as well. If you enjoyed today's video, if you enjoy what I do on the show here, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel down below. I'll see you for the next episode, and until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you soon.